Can we have a heart-to-heart conversation for a minute about some of the real things that are keeping some of us from the breakthrough that we are looking for? We have a real and formidable enemy that does not want us to live in our purpose, get our breakthrough, break free of the system, or build kingdom wealth. My name is Lee, this is Homespun Income, and today we are going to talk about the 5 enemies of wealth and breakthrough and how sometimes we can be blocking our blessings. So thank you so much for being here today. If you are new here and you end up enjoying today's video, I would love to have you subscribe so that we can visit again. Go ahead and like that video, comment, let me know what you're thinking about the topic today, and share this with someone who you think it might help. Number 1 is chronic delay and procrastination. And I think most of us have struggled with this at some point in time. And what's really interesting about chronic delay and procrastination is that this is an enemy, a breakthrough that will pop up along the way as you go on your journey to building sustainable transformational success. Whatever your personal goal is that you are looking for in terms of breakthrough and wealth building, whether you're looking to leave an inheritance to children's children, have more time wealth to be able to enjoy your family or serve more people, to be more sustainable, to live off the land, to take care of parents as they get older, whatever your goal is, there are things that are going to pop up along the way that are going to try to throw you off track, to distract you. I am telling you, as I have gone through this process myself, I am very sure now that the enemy does not want the children of God living in their purpose. He does not want us free. He does not want us breaking through limiting beliefs and breaking through the things that are holding us back. Why would he? He wants us stuck and he wants us comfortable. And one of the ways that he does this is through chronic procrastination. So how does chronic delay and chronic procrastination present itself or manifest itself? This can look different in everybody's lives because we all have different areas where we are tempted in certain ways. We all have different areas where we are vulnerable. We have different family setups. We have different stories that we are walking out. But some of the ways that this can manifest itself is chronic distractions. Every time you feel like you're going to start working on something, there are just things that come up and all kinds of distractions. And I would encourage you that if you feel like that is happening at an unprecedented rate and it just happens every single time, that before you step into the space where you are going to be creative or sit down and finally come up with ideas or hit the record button or start that course that you wanted to start, that you pray ahead of time and that you ask the Lord to establish his presence in the space ahead of you, that you invite his presence into the territory that you believe he's asking you to walk into. If you feel like there's a vision on your heart, there's a dream or a desire in your soul, you feel like God has planted something inside of you that he's asking you to walk out. There's a purpose in pain. There's something you've overcome. There's passion, there's education, inspiration, whatever it is in your life that you believe that you are called to do at a higher level. Inviting the Lord's presence to go before you so that you don't feel like you have to carve out all the space yourself. There is something about saying, Lord, go before me, stake out the place. Lord, fight the giants before I even get there. Anoint the space with your presence. Bring your spirit to the space before I get there. Open the doors that only you can. Close the doors that are not meant for me. And I ask, Lord, that you would tear down all of these distractions that are trying to pop up and all of this chronic delay and procrastination that is trying to come in and steal my breakthrough. We need to understand that, yes, sometimes things just happen in life, in the physical, but often there are spiritual components and there's mental warfare that is going on, whether it's war being waged in our flesh or it's war being waged in the spirit. There are things that are going on way outside of just the things that we see manifesting themselves in the physical. So pray before you sit down into that space and ask the Lord to go into the territory before you. We can also see this manifest as poor habits and addictions. Poor habits and addictions can really steal our breakthrough from us, and they can create the distractions and the procrastination. Because when we're caught up in the poor habits and in the addiction, it is way harder for us to break out of that and to enter into a creative space. Poor habits and addictions create anxiety. And when I was looking into this one brain study, it was showing that when the anxiety part of the brain lights up, the creativity part of the brain shuts down. And so it's no wonder why it's hard for people in a really cluttered environment to be creative. It's hard when we are dealing with a lot of stress to be creative. Those small daily habits done over the course of time, because habits can be really good or really bad. They are just things that we do consistently over time, and they create lifestyle. How are those things creating chronic delay for the things we believe that God has called us to? And how is that stopping us from having the breakthrough that we are looking for? Which leads me into limiting beliefs, which I think is one of the biggest parts of causing chronic delay or chronic procrastination. And just to pause here for a second, I have a free video teaching called Limiting Your Limiting Beliefs that you can access for free on my website. I also have things like a free social media planner. So if you want to access any of that, I will leave the link for you in the description box. I highly recommend that you deal with limiting beliefs and mindsets. That is incredibly foundational for getting breakthrough and experiencing transformational, sustainable success and having long-term sustainable success in any sort of brand building or business or wealth building or having all these types of breakthroughs and healing in your life. And you have to deal with the series of events that's happening within your mind and then your words and all of these things that are happening within you that are creating this belief system that's creating your lifestyle and action. And so I deal with that in that free teaching. So go ahead when you have the time and check that out. Number 2 is comfort addiction. Many of us in the world today are addicted to comfort. We do not want to feel triggered. We do not want to feel accountable. We do not want to deal with our shortcomings. We do not want to deal with our limiting beliefs. And so what I mention in my Brand Builder and Digital Mastery course is how important laying those foundations are, because the majority of people can do this. The majority of people have the ability within them to change their life, to build sustainable transformational wealth. The reality is the majority of people won't or don't, not that they can't. The 2 big points of sabotage of why the majority of small businesses fail has nothing to do with outside forces, stuff that just we can't control, it's happening, it's our station in life, it's whatever. The 2 main things are people don't do the work, okay? They don't do the work for whatever reason, a lot of the things that we're talking about today, or they tap out too soon. Those are the 2 main reasons that they have found why 90% of it doesn't work. And I would argue that that's true of a lot of breakthrough in people's lives, and why the majority of people stay stuck. It's not because they're not capable. And so the good news with that is that you have the capability to overcome the things that the majority of people don't or won't. And one of those things is overcoming our addiction to comfort. Because if you're going to walk through a process of breaking through things and escaping your economic station, getting past limiting beliefs, building a brand, growing a business, breaking out of that 90%, if you are going to do that, it is going to require feeling uncomfortable and dealing with things in yourself that need to be dealt with. It's not a comfortable feeling to be accountable. It's not a comfortable feeling to deal with our bad habits or why we're chronically delayed and procrastinating or what our limiting mindsets are, or where we have areas of doubt or mistrust. The people who are willing to deal with that comfort addiction and say, I'm willing to go through a season of discomfort and get accountable and deal with the things I need to deal with, you are already way ahead of the game. Number 3 is fear of the unknown. And I would argue just fear in general. All of us, every human being struggles with fear. Right? Fear is the absence of faith. Fear is the absence of love. Perfect love casts out fear. All of us struggle with fear, and I think a ton of us struggle with fear of the unknown. So people that are willing to partner with faith and partner with the Word of God and partner with His promises more than they're partnering with fear. It's not that you have to feel shame or bad about feeling that fear, but you feel it, you recognize it for what it is, and then you say, I am going to choose, even if my emotions haven't caught up yet, I want to choose to partner with faith and believing in the promises of God more than I am going to come into this cozy agreement and partner with the fear here. Because if I stay in this state of fear and I am always waiting for all of the things to fall into place and feel and look perfect before I jump, I am never going to get the breakthrough that I am looking for. I love Joshua 1:3. It says, I will give you every place where you set your foot as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon and from the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Be strong and very courageous. If our heart is aimed at doing the will of God, living out the purpose He has for our life, to please Him and to serve other people, God is saying, I will give you every place you set your foot. I have given you as my child, as my creation, that has an aspect of my creativity in them that I have made in my image. I am giving you, I am an inheritance of dominion in the territory where you set your foot. So as you enter into these places of the unknown, I will go before you. Invite my presence into these places, and I will give you dominion in the territory where I am sending you. It is such a beautiful thing when we can grab a hold of that and begin to really relate to God as Father. And understand that He is a good and faithful Father who delights in fulfilling His promises to His children, just as any good father would. And God is saying, I will give you the place where you set your foot. But we have to trust Him, walk in obedience to Him, go where He is sending us in faith. And He's saying, when you get there, I'm going to give you the place where I set your foot. Number 4 is doubt. And this kind of connects the dots on a lot of things that we've been talking about. Doubt is the opposite of faith. We all do it, all go through it, all have moments of having a little bit of a nervous breakdown and having those doubts creep in, because the enemy likes to whisper in our ear. That's why we have to be locked and loaded with the Word of God and with His promises and what He says about us and where He's sending us. Because when those doubts come in, we have to be able to fight well. We have to be able to take our thoughts captive. We have to have control over our tongue, so that our actions, the things that are going to flow forth from us, are going to be actions of faith instead of actions of doubt. Everybody thinks, fake it till you make it. You got to be super confident in knowing everything and how to do everything. That is not how it works. You gain the confidence as you go forward and do the stuff. As you do the work, you take the course, you learn, you listen. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing the Word of God continually. That is how we build ourselves up in faith. So you don't have to have it all figured out to start today, to begin to set your foot towards the place that God has called you to. And He desires all of us to have breakthrough. And number 5, poor stewardship and complaining. We know why the majority of the Israelites did not make it into the promised land. No bueno on the complaining. And again, something we all are tempted to do. It is a muscle. Gratitude is a muscle we choose to build every single day when our mind is focused on what is good and praiseworthy. When we're operating in the faith instead of the doubt, our mind is really focused on what God has said instead of what we feel, what He's spoken instead of what we think. All of those things, we can't trust them, but we can trust the character of God. We can trust what is written. We can't always trust all of this. That's for sure. I know that's true for me. I don't know about you, but I know that that's true for me. And poor stewardship, why would we think that if we're really being a mess. We're being real messy with the little bit of things that God has already given us, that He is going to give us more as a good parent. If you're a good father and you notice that your child is being real reckless with the things that you give them, they're always losing it, breaking it, not when they make a mistake. I mean, they're being reckless. Are you going to be like, you know what? I see you being real reckless over there in the corner. Here's $100. We need to understand that he who is faithful with a little will be faithful with much, and God knows that. So we need to begin to become very faithful with what we have and do our best to aim for that every day and say, how can I get better in the area of stewarding the things that God has given me? And part of our stewardship of what He's given us is gratitude and not complaining, but being thankful for what is presently in our life. It doesn't mean we can't have desires on our heart of more that we are looking to do and want. It's totally fine. It just means that we, in this present moment, are acknowledging the goodness of God. And so all of that entering His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise, this is a weapon of warfare against evil that is going to try to creep in to try to stop you from getting your breakthrough and building wealth and building that sustainable transformational success that changes families and communities and lives when it's used properly for the glory of God. God is looking to manifest His glory through the lives of His children, and He's put something very, very special inside of you. So if you want to dive deep into this process of learning how to build income online God's way, lay all of the good foundations so that your success can be sustainable, outlast, be transformational, I will leave all the links for you in the description box and pinned in the comments to my brand builder and digital mastery course. I think the one thing that really sets it apart is that it lays all of the foundations, and then I give you the strategies so that you can connect all of the dots and begin to create that income online that changes families and communities. So I would love to have you over there, but definitely check out our free resources. I thank you so much for being here with me and spending a piece of your precious day here at Homespun Income. Again, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you subscribe. Thank you, friend, for watching the video. Lord willing, I'll see you on the next one. And remember, you can do hard things.